Yo, what's cracking, folks? Welcome to episode number 4 of the Painter and The Pixie. I am Jeremy Vassar, and I'm joined by my lovely wife, Serena.
Hello, everybody.
And in this episode of the podcast, Serena and I have a more casual conversation that is less infused with topics, I guess.
Yeah, we kind of got some topics.
Yeah,
It's
topics.
just a little bit less straightforward. We kind of meander a little bit more.
Yeah, it's all good. We're just kind of giving a recap of our January challenge and our recent experiences with socializing sober, which is
A lot of fun.
It was fun. It was a good time. So, and I think that's probably enough of a lead up.
Yeah, enjoy our little conversation, everybody.
Yeah, all right.
This is only the beginning.
All right, ready?
Ready?
What you're going to hear about today is nothing short of a miracle.
Well, I don't believe it.
Let's find out. Ready, set, go.
What's up, girl?
Good morning.
How you doing?
I guess it's good afternoon now. It's 12 o'clock.
Is it? Yeah, we had a lazy morning this morning, folks. It's
Yeah.
been a nice weekend.
Yeah.
So I had a very lazy day yesterday.
You did.
Oh man, you left to go hang out with one of your friends, and I slept in till like 10:30.
Oh my gosh.
It's so delicious. It was just it was very, very nice. I've been pushing pretty hard the last couple weeks here,
Yep.
so it's been nice
Need a
to
day like that.
yeah, just screw off. And man, I got up and just made coffee and then watched I don't know, it was a terrible Pirates of the Caribbean movie
Oh, yeah.
on Netflix, whatever the newest one is that's on there. But it's Disney, so it's decently
Yeah.
paced. Horrible film, but it was
I like the first one. I've seen the first one hundreds of times.
the first one's great.
But I mean, after the third one, I haven't seen any of them.
Yeah, I think they're up to like 5 now.
Really?
So, yeah, it's quite a few.
Wow.
But
I didn't know that. I know that there's a mermaid in, because the mermaid's name is Serena.
right.
But that's all I know about it.
Yeah, so it was nice, and then we went to intermediate yoga yesterday.
Yeah.
So that was number 10 for both of us.
10 for both of us. We got 2 more left for the month. So it
Yeah.
is Sunday, and we got to get it done by Wednesday, right? Because Thursday is February.
Correct. So I think I'm going to go today and tomorrow,
Okay.
and then I'll be all set. But we have a few shout outs I think we are
Yeah.
due that have been requested. So hopefully they're listening. But shout out to Angie, and happy
Yes.
birthday to our buddy Tim. So Serena and I will probably have some sort of title in this episode that's like sober fun. Like
It wasn't bad. I had a really good time.
I did too.
It was
And
great.
we hung out at a brewery over in Percy, and it was I haven't had any issues as far as like I've had a few times where I've really wanted to drink,
Mm-hmm.
but this I hadn't planned on hanging out at like 2 breweries
Right,
2 nights in a row.
Right, because we're still in our January challenge.
Right.
No booze. And when you're setting up for success, you don't plan to go to 2 bars in 2 nights at the very end of your month.
Yeah. Well, and Free Will it's basically just a tap room.
Yeah.
Like, they don't even serve food. It's cool. They have like a food truck out front.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, I definitely want to come back here, particularly when I can have a beer.
Yes.
So, and if you like beers, they have a fantastic variety, and they're all brewed there. It's very, very good stuff. But
Yeah.
so, we came and hung out and chatted with folks and had a lovely time and didn't drink, and it was good. It was very social, and kind of made you a little bit more engaged in conversation.
Yeah.
But
we had some great conversations with people, met some people. It was fun.
But so that was good. So we appreciate the invite, Angie. It was a blast.
Yeah.
And then we hung out for a decent amount of time, came back, had family dinner. And then yesterday, our yoga studio celebrated its 4th year anniversary.
Yeah, for her birthday.
For your birthday of Bikram Yoga Doylestown. So then everybody went out after the intermediate class to another tap room.
You know, right?
And the thing too is they had food there, but that was nothing we could really eat.
Well, there was one salad we could have eaten.
Gotcha.
Maybe 2 salads that didn't have fried things, right? Because we're doing
Right.
like, it's not just no high glycemic carbs, because we can do rice and potatoes and stuff, which technically are high glycemic carbohydrates.
Right.
But no fried foods. That was the trick. And they always have like fried pieces of
Awesomeness.
chips.
Yeah.
And like there was this one burger that looked fantastic. It had fried pickles. And I don't know. I like fried pickles. I think they're pretty good.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I would totally eat this right now. Sans bun if I could do it. But not quite. Not the time for that. Now
So-
we know. We can go back.
And that was a cool spot over there.
It was.
In,
I had
in
not been
D-Town, but and it was fun too because it was kind of like I got up to leave and then ended up chatting with some more people for a long time. So I think
Yeah.
we hung out for a couple hours. It was,
Yeah, I got there at like 7.
yeah,
We left at 10 something after 10.
yeah, it was like 10:30.
Yeah.
So
It was fun. I had a great time. I love chatting with people. It's like you go to the studio and you kind of sort of develop a little bit of a friendship or a relationship with people, but you don't really talk much. You get into the studio room and you don't talk.
right.
Class starts, class ends, and people kind of go on their way. Do a little bit of chit chat maybe in the locker room, but that's it. So it was really nice to kind of socialize with some people and get to know them a little bit. And
Yeah, see people with their
Yeah.
clothes on.
I know, right? Like I don't recognize you with your
It's
clothes
always
on.
weird for those that aren't attuned to Bikram yoga. It's it's usually between like 105, 110 degrees in the
Yeah.
room. So most people are in like, if for females, they're in like either the yoga pants or the yoga shorts, and then
Sports
like
bra.
and a sports bra, and then the guys are like, I'm shirtless with just like athletic shorts on.
Yep.
So it's very
Yeah. And everyone's like sweaty and like for the females, like our hair's all pulled back. And, like,
yeah.
no one recognized anyone with like makeup and cute clothes and their hair's done.
You're
Like,
just
it's awesome.
sweaty and yeah. But yeah, it was fun. And I was thinking about this too. I'm like, I'm a really open person, so I usually talk too much anyway. So I was just thinking like, when you stay sober and everyone else starts drinking, they start to talk more and like overshare. And I'm like, I've overshare when I'm sober. So like, I don't really need any help.
And maybe not necessarily overshare, but like you just a little more open, a little bit
I'm
more
very
flexible.
comfortable with
Yeah.
with what's going on with me. So
Yeah.
it's not but all that being said, I think what the perspective that I got on both of those evenings is that I wouldn't need to go and have like a ton of drinks.
Right.
You can have because we had a good time sober.
Yeah.
But I think it would have
great.
been, I've talked to you about this before. I think alcohol can be really fun when it's a flavor enhancer. It's like
Right.
a seasoning on the evening, not necessarily what the evening revolves around. Where like I would have done great with like just 2 beers.
Yeah.
at
And
each-
you did
at each
great
of those.
without any.
I did, but I would have done better. With
I
2
don't know
beers.
about
Yeah.
that. I'm not sure about
I would have enjoyed it more for sure.
Maybe.
But
Maybe.
I would mentally I would be more excited.
You're 5.
Yeah.
5-year birthday, you can have your 2 beers.
What are you talking about?
For when we go back and celebrate again for year 5.
Oh, for
Like
the
if we
yoga
go back to
studio.
the yoga
yeah,
studio
yeah.
party.
Yeah. No, I'll be having 2 beers much before then. So,
Oh, I know
yeah.
that. I know that. But I was nice. I just got a sparkling water with lime, and it was nice. You feel like you're still drinking something fun, and that's a great way to still socialize and have a fun beverage, which, okay, maybe it wasn't like super fun, but
Yeah.
like this morning I have my little Pellegrino with frozen strawberry and lime, and it's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's a nice little treat.
I will say it's very helpful to have. I always talk about it if people are going on changing their diet or eliminating other things. It's like you really want to give yourself a target-rich environment. So for us, our drink fridge is now stocked with kombucha. We have like 2 different kombuchas in there. We've got a whole bunch of Pellegrino,
Yep.
and then we have those Zevia sodas
Yep.
that are flavored with stevia and no sugar or anything, so it doesn't spike your blood sugar. And those are it's been nice to like have something like fizzy that you're used
Yeah.
to, and then I like different flavors, so that's been super helpful. So
And those are great options too if you're going to a party or whatever. Bring your own little, fizzy beverage that's non-alcoholic, and it's totally nice too. Like we were going to the bar, so that's where I was like, I'll just get their sparkly water.
yeah,
I don't want to bring something
It's
in.
weird
That's a little
bringing
awkward.
stuff in unless it's like a
But
water
you
bottle.
have options.
I brought a Pellegrino to the first tap room we went to.
Yeah.
So.
But they didn't sell food there, so I feel like
No.
that was okay because they encourage you to bring food and stuff into the first
right,
one.
right.
But
Well,
this
'cause
other one, the still was kind of like
a restaurant.
a
setup,
restaurant, so you don't really want to bring your own in there.
pretty much. So, how you doing with the challenge?
Good, I feel great.
We'll be done this Wednesday.
Wednesday,
So
we've got 3 days.
yeah, man.
It's amazing.
So
feel great. I was like doing my little tally marks for all of the things that we've accomplished on our whiteboard. And I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, this is pretty good. And I start thinking now about like, what do I want to do for February? And what kind of things can I give myself to do for February?
Well, you're funny because as soon as we're like halfway through this challenge, you're already planning
I
like
know.
the next challenge. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing.
Not yet. You're not there.
Yeah,
That's okay.
I'm not very. I could do like a month on, a month off, like with the challenge stuff, or if it's a more overarch. I have a really busy month next month, so Josh and I are working on a new kind of business situation that is
Yeah.
going to require quite a bit of my time. So that's going to be the main thing.
Yep.
But we talked about doing the bread thing, I think, on a
Right.
previous.
I think episode 2 even.
Yeah. So we'll see if that's something. We'll update you folks if we're going to do anything snazzy in February, as far as starting something else or whatever.
Or
But we
like
haven't-
keeping momentum going. That's kind of what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. Is like, okay, so
Yeah.
you've developed a new eating habit for yourself this past month where it's like no sugar and no mega refined carbohydrates, no fried foods. And I think that to kind of help you with some of your goals that you have for like physique, that's a really great pattern for you to stick with.
Yeah.
But then maybe you can have a moderate, normal sized cheat meal, quote unquote. I hate that term, cheat meal, but for you use it. So can have a little cheat meal
Yeah,
once in a while, and not like a 5 scoop sundae
Right,
with like
right.
a blue and onion and a whole, all that stuff that you did before. It's craziness. I can't believe that you didn't get sick from all of that.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't feel great afterwards, but you just sleep it off.
More moderation when reintroducing some of these things, so you don't feel like crap and you can still accomplish your goals.
Yeah, I kind of feel like where I would rather spend and I don't particularly like the term cheat meals either, because it's like, who are you cheating? You're cheating yourself. So
Yeah, food is not about cheating.
yeah,
It's not good or bad. It's just food.
I would
You
like
make
to
choices.
enjoy it. And if for some reason I got offered or had an opportunity to have a super delicious something that was worth the experience,
Yeah.
then I would
Indulge a little bit.
indulge. But I'd like going out of my way to do it.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I've been feeling pretty good. So because we talked a lot about how we're going to reintroduce certain things in February and how that's going to go. For me, I think I'm going to try and set goals where if I can't screw off, but so much.
Right.
So
kind of keep yourself within boundaries.
Well, yeah.
So like you can screw around this much, but if you go beyond that, then you're not going to accomplish your other goals. So you kind of keep yourself.
Yeah.
Checks and balances.
And then we'll see, because I since we did this for a month, I know that we can do it again.
Yep.
So if things get out of line or I'm not getting closer to my goals, then because right now I'm like, we started the challenge, I was like 221.
Yep.
And now I'm down to like I've been humming between like 210 and 213, and things have like stayed there because
Yep.
I think now I'm starting to put on more muscle mass. It would be just from visually, I haven't done a body mass, but I feel like that's what's going on right now.
Yep.
And then I started supplementing again with creatine, so I know that's going to start stacking on weight a little bit too.
Yeah.
I'll talk about my experience a little
Go
bit with
for
this
it.
challenge.
Yeah.
Is that so? Because we have to do 12 yogas, I've been very focused on getting
Right.
3 of them in a week. And if I missed anything, what I would miss is either the extra jiu-jitsu class on like the open mat on
From
Fridays.
your other routines.
Right. Or I would not do strength and conditioning. So, and if I'm banged up, I made sure I got to yoga and didn't do the
Right.
other stuff.
Which
So
makes sense.
moving forward, I think I've been grappling for about a month now and going live, where I actually feel like yoga's great. And I think I may drop down to 2 yoga a week, and use it more as like active recovery. 'Cause it's not the strength you get in yoga, at least right now, doesn't translate over to the strength that I need and the
Yeah.
durability that I need for grappling, because it's so strenuous on the body.
Yeah.
So I'm going to focus a little bit more on making sure I get to basically like 2 of my full-blown strength and conditioning sessions, because then I have gone and done the sauna afterwards, and then
Yeah.
I didn't even know that High Point had a steam room. So now I've been going to the steam room as well, and it's awesome because you sweat a ton in there. The sauna is close to 200 degrees, and then the steam room is like 130 or 140, but the dude that I was in there with, he told me he showed me how to mess with the sensor. So if you keep drying the sensor off, the steam keeps coming out. You can get up to like 150 in there with the steam, which feels insanely hot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was delicious. Big fan. And it helps a lot with like recovery and joint pain. And I've like my knee's been feeling better going just from the sauna and that stuff. Cause
That's great.
I was thinking about how my, like particularly how my knee's been feeling and when it's felt the best. And it was actually when I was lifting heavier with Tim's program that I was lifting at the Lion's Den 3 days a week.
Yep.
And like lifting decently
Yeah,
heavy.
you did. Yeah, you did a lot then. That was like a very heavy strength and conditioning schedule for you, and you seemed to do quite well with it.
Yeah.
Until you went into that little.
Well, I did a
strongman
stupid
competition.
strongman. It wasn't a competition. It was like a competition practice.
Oh, right.
kind of
okay.
a thing.
So like, yeah, not
but
the same at all.
But I did totally try and compete and win. So
Yeah, yep.
it was an
So for you, it kind of was a competition.
little bit of an error, a little of an overreach.
A little bit. So now you know where that's going to take you. So you can go
Yeah.
back with a little bit more, just like this whole diet thing.
Yeah.
Moderation, and say, okay, here's when I'm going to push hard. Here's when I'm going to pull back. I think that you are very competitive and you like to win and you like to be awesome, particularly when it involves strength.
No.
So you're like, I have to beat everybody because I know I can. Well, yes, you can, but
No,
is it
but
going to sacrifice your back or your knee or something else like
I'm
that?
not stronger than everybody. That's not. Yeah.
Then
I-
like a lot of people.
I'm more good when it's like a really long something
That's
that
true. You like
requires a
your
lot of
duration.
strength over a long period of time. Like anything that has, I'm like a diesel freight train, just like I can keep going for a long time. Hence the ultramarathon and so forth.
Yes.
But
So going back to you, what you were saying, I think that doing the additional strength and conditioning will be helpful, dropping to 2 yogas, but then you kind of like have that optional third one where if you're feeling good, if you've got room in
Yeah.
your schedule, room in your space, you can say, okay, let me hop in to do a third
yeah,
one.
I would totally love, I mean, if I didn't have to work, like have a full-time business and all the other stuff I'm trying to do, I would definitely like to do yoga. I mean, I could do it every day, I think. And then I'd really like to do like 3 days a week strength and conditioning. I think I'm gonna end up doing like about 2.5 days because I do some strength work at the jiu-jitsu gym.
I see.
Because they have a reverse hyper there where I do like a back routine
Right.
after I'm done rolling.
That's nice.
And then I'm going to start doing a lot more banded things where when you do like banded rows, so it's a band is basically just like a massive rubber band. You can get them from like Rogue Fitness and a bunch of other places. But if you do like banded squats, you put the bands over the bar so that when you start, there's a ton of tension at the top. When you come down all the way, there's no tension, and as you are coming out of the squat, there's more tension because
see.
the bands are stretching up. But it's a really good way to kind of like simulate human contact because
Right, your push-pull from jiu-jitsu.
right
I
because
see.
it's a lot of weightlifting doesn't really simulate grappling. So it's trying to like getting some more tension in the range of motion that's like Tim Moyer could explain this way better than me. But the point is it's a lot more banded things where you've got different types of pressure through the range of motion. So if you think about doing like a row,
Right.
if you had the row and a band around the barbell or the kettlebell to the floor, like as you came up, there'd be more tension on it. So you've got the weight of the dumbbell as well as the tension on the band.
Right.
And then it wants to snap back to the ground. So then you've got to be really controlled on the way
And it's
down.
different than just having a heavier kettlebell or weight.
Correct.
Because you have application of pressure, release of pressure, whereas the weight, it's the same weight all the way through the motion.
Right.
So
right.
that gives you a different muscle response.
So
right?
Yep. And then there's just really good things to do for shoulders and different things. So, but I've got a better. It's kind of like the more I do training and stuff, the more I found the more ownership I take of my training instead of being like, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? It's just like feel your body, get in tune with it, and be like, okay, how am I doing? And I've just been more conscious of like where my body's at. Do I need to go to yoga? Do I need to go more in the
that's
steam
helpful.
room? Like that kind of and the more skills you have with it, I think the more you have more like tools in your toolbox. So
Yep. And I think since January, since we started this challenge, you have become more and more in tune with your body as well, because there's not a covering of like alcohol to numb the sensations, or sugar to like heighten or dull or whatever. You know, you're not having these big, huge spikes and dips where you can actually feel what's going on in your body more effectively, more efficiently, and then you can kind of plan accordingly to improve yourself.
Right.
Which I think is awesome.
Yeah. So I don't think I pretty much am good with the eating. I think I want to keep it there, but I'd like to drop to sub 205.
All right.
Which that'll be the challenge because I know my body levels out at 210 even when I'm eating clean. Just like that's been the set point. When I ran the ultra, I was 210.
You were?
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, I was humming between 207 and 210, which is pretty big to run that long. But so we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. But I think
It's going to have to take some other tweaks for you.
For sure.
For that.
Well,
It's
we did some-
possible for sure.
we
but-
did some massive change and cut out all the BS weight. Now it's
Yeah.
gonna get a little more. I'd like to see how my body shakes out over another month of consistent training.
Yep.
And the strength and conditioning will help a lot.
Consistent training, strength and conditioning, continue this type of clean diet, as you call it, clean diet.
Yeah.
And I think that you'll get to pretty close to where you want to be. And that's where you're talking about a matter of like 5 pounds.
It's probably gonna be more like 7.
7 pounds? Still, that's not crazy. It's not like
7
you're
or 8.
talking 20 pounds.
Well, I was gonna ask you too. Like, what if you're? We'll just keep it on me. Like, if I'm thinking that I want to drop from like 213 to sub 205, I'd really like to be between like 205 and 200, like that range, where it's not the difference of like 205 is the low end,
Right.
and I'm humming between 205 and 210.
Right. You kind of want to shift that down so 200 is your
yeah.
low end. And
Yeah, even like if I could get to like 195 to 205, be in that bracket, but I want to retain my muscle. Like, what's a healthy conversion as far as like how quickly should you be losing weight?
You know, that is a tricky question because it's not, it's hard to answer in this kind of forum because I don't want people to think that this applies to everybody because this is very specific to you. As you know, and as you know, our listeners learn or know about me, I'm very much about bioindividuality. What works perfectly well for you is not going to work perfectly well for me or may not work perfectly well for me.
Yeah.
Everybody is a little bit different. And because you have such a heavy history of consistent training and relatively decent diet, and then of course now that you're with me, pretty much better on those types of things.
We're definitely more accurate for sure, and suffering a lot less because you can eat wonderful food if you know what you're doing. So
Yeah, so it's just going to be a matter of tweaking some of your macronutrient ratios and monitoring some of your body mass goals. You'd have to work with somebody like Tim to figure out specifically how to do the kind of workout routines. I'm not an expert in that at all. I know nothing about that.
Right.
That's not my field, but I can help with the nutrition component. So it's not a very good answer to your question because I don't know exactly what that's going to look like for you. My job is to help you figure out what that ratio is and listen to your body to learn how to tweak for yourself.
yeah, I feel like my output is bless you.
Thanks.
You gonna go again? Another one?
Okay.
Bless you.
I'm good.
Times 2.
Thanks. I felt that coming right before we recorded.
That's all right. Yeah, I knew you have the.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, so it's going to take a little bit of trial and error for you and tweaking some things. That's really all that it's going to be. I really feel specifically for you, your case, you, Jeremy, it's tweaking. It's nothing major. It's not going to be something sort of drastic. It's just a matter of saying, okay, so you have this many carbs and this many fat, this many protein.
Yeah.
Let's start tweaking these ratios for you to make sure that you're kind of like seeing the results that you want to see.
Yeah, and I think it'll be more. That's where we start having to look at macros a little bit, and
we're gonna
a
have
little
to
bit
for
of,
sure track that
a little
stuff
bit of
right now.
calories and stuff because I've been still eating. I probably have fluctuated a little bit, but I'd say I'm between like 3,000, 4,000 calories a day usually.
Yep, I would agree.
So, what are your thoughts on your February plans?
So for February, I really love the way we've been eating. This is kind of my normal, going back to my normal eating, minus the holidays.
Yeah.
All of that.
Potato chips.
I know. And that's like, I go through phases with those potato chips.
Right.
And chips in general. I think they're fantastic. But I also know that they get me into trouble. So I try to keep those out of the picture as much as I can.
Yeah.
Just treats. You indulge, holidays, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I could be good with not having the blue corn chips in the house anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't go too much for the blue corn chips. I mean, when we'd have taco salad and stuff, that was not really my go-to. I didn't really...
I like the crunchy.
Yeah, that's true. So anyway, I think that I'm going to continue with our normal eating. That's great for me. But I do want to be able to go out and say, okay, like we're going to go to the Carlton Cafe and like get something that, has wheat in it or whatever. Like it's not the end of the world to have that once in a while.
Well, they make their bread fresh too.
Right, so that's a
it's
totally different experience
higher
too.
up on the chain of awesomeness.
So that kind of thing. But for me, I think the really big process that I'm kind of struggling through right now for February is dairy.
Blah, blah, blah.
I know. So I don't remember if I've talked about this on the podcast before or not, but I love heavy cream in my coffee.
Ooh, it's good.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, we have tried multiple times to not do heavy cream in our coffee,
I know, it's
and
just so good.
I have decided that that's a hill I'm willing to die on. So,
I know. It's much more difficult for you than it was for me.
well, yeah, we'll see.
But we will say it is quite difficult. So I don't eat a ton of dairy. I do cream in my coffee. And I cook with butter, but I also cook with coconut oil and bacon grease and all these other types of fat. So it's not like exclusive. There are a lot of other things in there. Maybe a quarter of a time I cook with butter. And I'll put butter on things like broccoli and, whatever. But the cream in the coffee is very consistent. Now, the reason I'm saying I'm going to probably have to make some adjustments for myself is because we've cut out all the rest of the bullshit.
Yeah.
And I still sniffle. Like you've probably heard me on the show a little bit. I sniffle when I drink my coffee.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, it's probably the cream. I've been historically fine with cream and it's good quality, all grass-fed, organic,
Right.
awesome quality cream. But there are a couple of things that are pretty consistent that I see for myself. And I'm like, okay, I've got to go through another period. And I've gone through lots of periods in the past with no cream, no butter, no cheese, no dairy. And, it's fine. It's not the end of the world. But I have developed quite a habit of cream in my coffee.
Yeah.
That's going to be the most challenging thing for me to give up. But I think I want to give it a try because 30 days, a month is not that long. And February is a short month anyway.
True. 28 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not that bad, but it's still going to be a challenge. And I am curious to see. Now, last year I did an experiment where I didn't put cream in my coffee because I would sneeze. Every time I would drink my coffee, I would sneeze.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what on earth is this? I thought maybe there was dust in our house or something. We clean everything really well and I keep sneezing. And then I finally was like, okay, let's get rid of the cream for a little while, see what happens. And I had a lot of other issues during that period of time. So it was very difficult for me to determine what was what. So now, okay, much more stable. Things are kind of going well. Let's remove the dairy. Let's see how it goes. 30 days is long enough to get a picture. Usually 3 weeks is pretty good to be able to see if you're trying to do some sort of elimination protocol.
Right.
And if you see a positive improvement, you go for 30 days. And then if you say, okay, I'm still not 100%, you do 60 up to 90 days. So we'll see how I do. We'll see how it goes. It's going to be challenging at first, just like this challenge was,
I'm not participating in this one.
You totally
first.
don't have to participate, but I think that's going to be my really big goal for February because, frankly, if dairy's the problem, that's a really easy fix.
It's true.
Super easy fix.
And I feel like you would be fine with, because we get really high quality. Like
Yeah.
most of the cheese we get is raw or like super high quality. And then I feel like butter's the same way. It's grass fed and all that stuff. I feel like the culprit is probably the heavy cream.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think that may be as well.
and this is why we just need to get our own cow.
I know.
So-
So much better. Or goats or something.
Yeah, I don't know how goat heavy cream would go in the coffee. I'm sure if you had
I've had goat milk before, but not cream.
yeah. Well, it depends on what kind of goat you get as
Yeah.
well. So
I don't
there's
know
certain
how much
ones,
cream they produce.
a decent amount. If you get a Nubian, I believe is the kind that you would want. It's a very high fat milk from the goat.
Oh.
So
I see, and I would give that a try.
yeah.
And I know that
I feel like the
chemically speaking, goat's milk is more similar to human milk, so
True.
it's easier for humans to digest.
Yeah. I like goat cheese.
Yeah. So I would give that a try. But I think I'm going to try to remove dairy first. And I might, if I do well, I might then reintroduce goat dairy or something like that. Because I know,
Right.
I'll see. I'll experiment. But I think February, that's going to be my big challenge.
When you were thinking about doing raw milk too,
and I was thinking about doing raw milk instead of the heavy cream.
which we've done before, but you have a more of an issue with shelf stability with the raw milk. You've even gotten raw cream before.
Yeah, the raw
from
cream
sources that shall not be named
Yeah.
because it's technically illegal.
goes bad quickly.
It does very
it's not
quickly.
technically illegal. It's just
Don't you have to say you're going to give it to your cats or something?
something. So it's not illegal. It's just frowned upon for human consumption.
Yeah, but it's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just a matter of I'm going to experiment, and I've done it before, and now it's just a matter of like shifting some of our recipes and some of my habits of doing cream in my coffee every day. And for a little while, I was doing the what's that called?
Nut pods.
No. The rocket fuel latte
Oh yeah.
from
yeah.
Leanne Vogel, the keto. What's her website? Healthfulpursuit.com. She has a recipe for what she calls rocket fuel latte. And there was that big fad for bulletproof coffee for a while. That was like the butter coffee.
Yeah.
You blend it up. So hers is a non-dairy version. It uses cocoa butter, MCT oil, hemp hearts, and some other.
Yeah,
that's
we were doing those
collagen.
for a while. They were delicious.
They
Yeah.
were really good. So, and I think I might go back to that for this month, for February, and see how that goes, because she's got some really good dairy-free keto options.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say that I'm strictly keto, but I'm definitely more fat-fueled than carb-fueled.
Right.
I definitely have a higher ratio of fats than carbs in my diet, for sure. So I track my macros sometimes just to kind of get a picture of where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I'm usually around like between 65 and 85% fat as my calories for the day. And then my, carbs and protein kind of fill up the rest of that space. So definitely more on the fat side of things. That's why I think, okay, it'll be great to get another really good, decent chunk of fat in my coffee in the morning. So I think I'll give that a try.
Have you ever tried taking like one of our full fat coconut milk cans and just whipping that without any water in it?
Yeah.
Just like whipping that and
Yeah.
putting it in?
It doesn't emulsify. It doesn't blend as well with the coffee. I used to do that back when I was vegan. That's the only thing I would put in my coffee. Or tea, because at the time I didn't even drink coffee. I drank tea.
Right.
And I would put the coconut. Now, I will say the full fat canned coconut milk is fantastic in Celestial Seasonings Bengal Spice Tea.
That is good.
That is better than heavy cream. It's
Yeah.
so good because it's got a little bit of the coconut flavor with all the spices.
Right.
It's awesome. So I might have to go to that too.
Yeah. Well,
I'll figure it out, but that's my big goal is no dairy, which, like I said, I've done before. It's just a matter of reinstating, knock off the rust and get that process going again.
yeah. Well, and you'll be super jelly every time I
know.
pour my heavy cream in my coffee.
No, it's gonna be so good.
I'll be like,
But Leanne Vogel has another recipe for like. So technically, with her rocket fuel latte, you're supposed to blend it. You throw it in a blender.
Right.
But she also has one that I'm calling it shelf stable. I don't know what you want to call it, but you can travel with it. It's like little blocks that you put in your coffee, and you use one of those little milk frothers. That's just a whisk that spins around electronically.
okay.
To whip it up. And I did that last time I was traveling for NTA for group leading in Herndon. I did that, and it was great. It worked out really, really nicely. So it's pretty convenient. It's not terrible. I think I'll be okay. I'm convincing myself.
You have a lot of options. So,
I have a lot of options,
yeah.
And particularly this month, I have had very little dairy in the first place. Some cheese, definitely cream my coffee pretty much every day.
Yeah.
But not that much else.
Well, I think
no cream sauces.
One of your large concerns is that if we bake fresh bread next month, that you won't put butter on it,
Yeah, that
which
was a big concern for me.
I'm definitely doing that.
I
So.
know, because we talked about that. I think that's a really fun challenge to consider the heirloom grains and try to get the sourdough going.
So yeah, we'll have to decide if that's something we want to pursue in February or if we want to
Push it off
allocate
to March.
our because the other thing too is we have to get the bread to rise, and it's not particularly
That's exactly what I was
warm or
thinking.
humid in here right now, so
very
it's
cold.
it's kind of cold and dry, so that's a little bit of a challenge as far as we don't have a proofing box or any of those kinds of
Yeah.
things.
So we might have to wait on that.
Yeah. So
Which
we'll
I'm okay with if I can't do butter. I've got a wonderful jar of ghee, which is clarified butter, waiting in the pantry for me.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, clarified butter is butter that has been heated and cooled in such a way that you remove the milk protein and the milk sugar. So it's just pure milk fat.
Yeah.
And even people who have dairy allergies can often enjoy this type of fat with their food. So we'll try that out. It's definitely not the same as butter, but it's an
definitely
option.
Definitely not.
Definitely not.
But it's all good.
Yeah.
So
that's kind of my thought for February. And I also want to keep up with my yoga. I want to go and still work for 12 in a month or 3 in a week. I'll have to decide if I want to give myself that flexibility.
right.
Because I know one of our weeks earlier this month, I only made it in one that week, and then I had to double up on the next week.
Right.
So that's where I kind of want to be able to say, give myself some flexibility. I want to keep that going through February as well. So yeah, I think it's...
And then whispers of perhaps doing some strength and conditioning.
Yeah,
That works
we'll
out.
see if that comes along. I would like to get that started
Yeah.
as well. It's not like I'm a total wimp. I just don't know how to do those types of
Well,
things.
no, I was having a similar conversation to one of my buddies last week.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it's like, if you're serious about getting in shape, it
Yeah.
really is helpful if you link up with a really good strength coach or a personal trainer, someone who really knows
Mm-hmm.
what they're doing. I would recommend someone who's been a former high-level athlete
Mm-hmm.
or high-level coach. It's actually not too hard to get a hold of really good college strength and conditioning coaches. And they are some of the best folks to learn from and actually show you like how to work out. A lot of people are
Yeah.
that I've talked to just want I just want to quote unquote workout,
Right.
where they want to get a burn or like feel tired
Yeah.
or whatever they're going for. Where like the difference is strength conditioning is building your body up for a particular activity. So there's a progression. So you call it training, not
Right.
not a workout. Is you're actually
Right.
you're pushing forward, and then my strength training is all geared towards grappling, and then also just longevity, posture, general life, and then like my job in contracting, I'm trying
Yeah.
to keep certain mobility there too. But
Yeah.
it's very helpful to have. It is a skill similar to a sport or a martial art or anything, is actually knowing the movements, the techniques, so that you're not going to hurt yourself.
Right.
It doesn't take any amount of skill to put someone in the floor and make them feel tired. It's
Or miserable.
or the challenge is to keep them healthy and progressing forward and getting their body in
Yeah.
better and better shape. So
Yeah, because I've got some physical goals that I want to achieve. And one thing we talked about, which I don't think we talked about in this podcast, was doing a handstand walk and some other
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. We had talked before about doing a competition with ourselves and a couple of other couples
Yeah.
with like 100 push-ups in a row, 200 squats in a row, some physical challenges that I could... I can do some of those things. I can do about 10 push-ups before I need to take a break. Actually, I got up to the point where I was doing like 30 or 40 in a day, which was pretty good. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
But I've never had any kind of training in this sort of world, and I just don't want to hurt myself. I don't want to do something wrong because, my physical activities that I've done in the past have been yoga, all different kinds of yoga, ballet, figure skating. But never any kind of strength and conditioning. So you're doing very specific movements that have no pertinence to anything else in life when you're doing ballet and figure skating. You know what I mean? Like, you're not doing squats. You're not doing any of this
ballet
stuff.
is super rough on your body.
Yeah, and
too.
it's different. Those kinds of squats are different. When
Yeah.
you're doing pliés, your hips are way turned out. It's just a completely different experience. So that's why I was like, okay, I want to kind of get into the game and do some better work for myself just for general health,
Yeah. And
Running is not my thing. Never going to be my thing.
yeah, it's unlikely.
Unlikely.
So
Walking is fine, but like I want to do a little bit more
Right.
specific.
Right. Well, if you want to get, it's not. People have solved this formula, so, and I've thought about that too, because I was a little bit surprised at how little the strength you get in, at least how I'm doing yoga, is that it doesn't really translate over to grappling. But my body's also adjusting back to going live, so you're gonna have some like a
Fluctuations.
shakeout period, we'll say. But yeah, like I feel like yoga gives me the space to get stronger. Like I've got a better range of motion.
Right.
Things aren't so tight, but now I'm like, oh, I can actually, this will allow me to go a little bit harder with strength and conditioning and maintain my mobility.
Yeah.
So, because I don't really need to do like full splits and all of that stuff. Like that'd be great if I could get there eventually, but
You can. It'll take you 10 years, but you'll get there.
oh yeah, it's going to be a long journey, but I think I have more of an idea of like where yoga fits in with because I've never really done it where I've done strength and conditioning, yoga, and whatever my martial art is at the time, like jiu-jitsu or Muay Thai. So that'll be a really nice
Yeah.
combination of things. So
Yeah, and another reason why I want to do some strength and conditioning is so that I can get better at yoga.
Right.
Like, I know doing yoga over and over and over again will help you to build strength. But like, for example, yesterday during intermediate class, we're doing going into camel.
yeah,
And for those of you guys who don't know what camel is, just Google it. You'll get a picture. You can see what that looks like. And it's a very big back bend. And I'm going back, and we're doing the pose where you kind of go like this. You put your hands here and you lean back, and I did not have enough strength in my core or my back or whatever. I have the flexibility. I can drop down. I've done that before, but I could not get back up.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, okay, take it slow, form before depth. Don't just drop into it because you won't be able to get back up.
right.
So that's where I want to be able to have some better strength and do some other activities to build that strength too.
Yeah. So, and then as far as the other pieces of our challenge goes, where we always get a little behind in the Instagram posts.
I know. We got 2 left we got to post today.
Yeah. So, and I think what we said in the future is, because we'd like to be consistent with it, so people know what's going on with the show and hopefully have some fun with it. So I think what we're going to do in the future is that we do one post for the show when it comes out. So which we're still messing with the
Release
when
schedule,
it
right?
releases. Me and my for those watching on YouTube and have seen any of the other stuff, my cousin Drew does all our editing, and so he's a champ at it. So I'm just we're working on our workflow of like when's a reasonable timeline to get everything going. So, but I'd like to drop it like Monday at midnight so that it's ready on Tuesday,
Right.
Because it's a really popular time for people to check their social media, and also to like. It'd be nice if they had the podcast earlier in the week to listen to.
Right. Isn't that when you dropped your other show?
Yeah. Jeremy
Monday
Unsolicited was always Monday night. It just puts a little bit more pressure on me to get it done and out, but I feel like it's probably good pressure where it's that way it's not dragging out into the middle of the week.
Just get it done.
Get it done and move on. So that's probably what we will land on eventually.
Yeah,
and,
working towards.
And today we kind of lightened up our schedule too. We're recording a little bit later than we normally do. And I'm not going to a movie.
Yeah, you've been going with your movie pass.
Oh, movie pass is
every
the
week.
shit.
It's awesome.
Yeah, man. My brother got me that for Christmas, and I've been talking about it on the show, and it feels like I'm robbing the place because I think it's like maybe $12 a month or something for this
Crazy
debit card, and then you can see one movie every day that's a standard 2D movie, so nothing 3D, nothing IMAX.
Yep.
And like what you do is there's an app on your phone, you get within 100 yards of the theater, you check in, they load the debit card through the app, and then if sometimes they have a kiosk and you can just use the app and they give you your ticket, but if they don't, like at some of the theaters around here, you just go up and say, I want this ticket. You give them the debit card that's with MoviePass, and then
they put enough money on there to cover the ticket.
You just feel like you're like, is this real? And then so we've already.
So you don't have to pay anything
No,
except for
it's
your monthly subscription.
monthly
so like
thing.
you see one movie a month, you've paid for it.
Yep, it has paid for itself.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then we've already seen 2, so.
I thought you've seen 3. I think you've seen
We
3.
saw The Post, and I saw what's the other one? I saw The Post, and then Josh and I watched another one last week. Oh, Molly's Game, which is very good. So Olympic skier that ran like a notorious high-end poker game.
Wow.
It was very interesting.
Cool.
So I was gonna go see another one today, but then we were like, yeah, I'm just gonna try and get the 4:30
Don't
yoga.
want to rush the
Yeah,
podcast. It's fun.
for no reason to I gotta get to the movie. It's like it's relax, man. So I'll figure out another time to go, but it's fine. So yeah, we get to have a little bit more relaxed than today. We just decided we're not gonna do like super specific topics, just like a general recap and so forth.
And talk about, I think it'd be fun to go back, and you can totally veto this if you want, but like talk about some other fun drinks you can make that are non-alcoholic to enjoy for sober fun. Or do you want to skip that subject?
Well, I mean, so for me, it was just the, I really like the Pellegrino, particularly if you make it. So one of my favorite drinks is a gin and tonic.
Yep.
So I would do like a rocks glass with ice, the same amount I would for a gin and tonic, and then quarter lime wedge, and then the rest Pellegrino with a cocktail straw, stir that up, and you're good to go. And then I just keep refilling it with the bottle of Pellegrino. But that's probably one of my favorites. The other thing is the Zevia stuff. I really like the caffeine-free cola is good. There's a few that have caffeine, so just be careful with that. They're not all caffeine-free. The ginger root beer is super good, and then the black cherry is
I do like black cherry.
also good. What are your?
nice.
You like the cream soda one, right?
I do. I think those are great too, but I mean, like, even making things like this, like I'm drinking right now, it's just Pellegrino, but it has a frozen strawberry and a little lime wedge.
Yep.
You can do a lot with frozen fruit and make it a really fun beverage for yourself so you don't feel like you're kind of left out.
Yep.
But I think I had a really great time kind of even listening to you having conversations. You have different types of conversations when you're not the one who's drinking. I know at at the first party we went to, at Tim's birthday party, it was different because it's like you just listen a lot more, right? You're not talking with people as much, I think. I did a lot of listening and it was fun.
No, I run my mouth all the time.
okay.
Yeah, it's constant. I have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah, that's true. You do.
I do listen. It's not like I'm. So if I listen when I think it's interesting. So
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But if I'm more conscious of it, I do. Well, what's funny is particularly when you get deeper into the evening, and people are, as my grandfather used to say, deep in their cups.
Yes.
The social cues.
Yeah.
Get a little different. Like
it's true.
I've noticed, and I'm curious if I do it as well. I have to watch myself a little more.
I'll video you next time.
they'll like
Just kidding.
lean in a little more, like they breach some kind of social, like
Like
they
boundaries.
lean in a little bit more, or like you're like, hey, you're getting like real close to my face right now, like you just stay out of my a lot of like swaying.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and it's very different. It was, kind of fun to watch yesterday talking to people. Not that I really don't think anyone who I talked to was getting like smashed. You know what I mean?
No.
one was drinking to drink.
no.
It was just having fun.
Yeah, the appropriate amount
Yeah,
of social
the appropriate
drinking.
amount of social drinking was great, but it's fun to be a part of the social scene and not feel pressure to drink. That's where I was like, because I've had that in the past where it's like, I don't necessarily want to drink at this party, but everyone's drinking in here. What are you going to get? What are you doing? And
Yeah.
so it was nice to just be like, nope,
Yeah.
this is not this month. Thank you, though. This is really nice.
Meh.
I know, not the same for you. That's okay. It does not have to be the same for you.
I
But
don't I don't ever feel pressured.
Mm-hmm.
But did you have any other drinks that you were thinking about that are fun to make, or was that pretty
Well,
much it?
not really. I mean, you could just mix all kinds of different fruits and things, and I've done like pieces of ginger because I really love ginger, and that's really fun too.
Kombucha is really good as well.
Kombucha is great. Kombucha
So-
is a fantastic.
And a lot of places like Backyard Beans over in Lansdale, they actually have kombucha on tap. So that's
I didn't
another
realize that.
fun,
That's
yeah,
pretty cool.
which is like a cool thing too. I thought about, a lot of my clients have like bars in their house.
Yeah.
I'm like, that'd be fun to have kombucha on tap.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly if it was cheaper, the way beer's cheaper when you get it on tap.
Right.
But because I
Yeah.
would definitely go through that I know they've had a lot of really interesting flavors, and then you get a huge amount. So,
Yep.
but yeah, so we'll see how it pans out in February.
Yeah.
I don't know if I
You don't know if you're going to do a challenge yet.
Yeah.
I have the dairy thing.
well for my YouTube thing. I have 2 videos up right now, both of which are from the fights that I went and videoed. And then I'm going to throw up the smoothie video that Drew and I made. And then I really need to, I was going to film
You got one
yesterday
more, man.
and I did not film
One more
anything.
video.
So
You had a fun day though.
I was very nice not to do any production stuff and not work stuff and just
Yeah, off the computer
chill.
all day.
It was lovely. So,
Yeah.
but I'll have to kick it in gear because I have a lot of work to do. And like I've got to get it launched by Wednesday.
Yeah.
So, and then give
better
enough
get on that today, man.
enough time for Drew to edit it and everything too. So, but it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. We're moving in the right direction, and then we'll see what's up as far as engaging in other challenges in the future and whatnot.
We'll talk. We'll see. Well, I think we can chat some more this week, and then when
Yeah.
we come to our first, because this is our last podcast for January. So when we launch our first podcast in February, we'll kind of like lay out all the details, and maybe
Yeah.
we might give some hints on our Instagram. So
Yeah.
Keep your eyes open.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
And then I think for the Instagram, what we're going to do now is, like I said, we're going to have the show
yeah.
post, and then you're responsible for one post, and then I'm responsible for one post
that's
during
how
the
we
week.
get 3.
And then that'll bring us up to 3. And that'll be a real consistent way to do it where we both know
Yeah.
that we're not dependent on the other one to do another post.
Yeah, we
or
were doing
something.
some joint posts for a long time, and like,
Yeah.
oh, we could easily split this workload
Yeah,
one
yeah,
and
yeah.
one. It's so simple.
And props to you, by the way. I was very happy with the show notes
Oh, good. Thanks.
from last week. You did a freaking bang up job on
They're
there.
Great. I try to
So,
give people resources. Literally, what I do every day at my job is give people resources and notes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
from what we talked about. So I'm great at that game.
but things are like hyperlinked, and we're working on some other stuff. We'll have some cool things
Yeah.
available for our listeners soon. We're working on some affiliate things, and I have a little bit of website work to do this week as
Yeah.
well. But so it'll be fun. We're shaking and baking and doing all kinds of fun stuff. And I've got to get off my butt and do some filming.
Yep.
And yeah,
Maybe you should do some of that today. You got some time before yoga.
we'll see. I've got to do the post work. We got to do all the rest of the stuff for this.
Excuses.
And-
Nice.
Oh.
Nice. I hear it. I hear the sound of excuses coming out of your mouth.
Well, yeah. I don't know if it'll be before yoga because I do want to mix down this whole show.
True, and
before
that
I
does
leave.
take some time to get onto your
Yeah.
computer.
I'm not doing nothing, just doing other stuff.
True.
But yeah,
Nice.
pretty well. If you go to the grocery store today, then
Yeah, we'll chat meal planning after we stop recording.
yeah, we could do. People might care about our meal plan. I don't know. One of the things I want to make this week, I actually do want to do the elk steak.
Yeah, we got the broccoli to go with it, and it's still sitting in the fridge.
Yeah, I'll set up the marinade. I'll pull
Okay,
that out, and
that
then
sounds
I'll
great.
set it up for the marinade. If anyone's doing elk steak, I'm not like an expert. Like follow Joe Rogan on Instagram. He's got he does some awesome stuff with elk. But I always find marinating it is the way to
Yeah,
go.
it's been delicious. We've done it a couple of times, and it's been fantastic.
Yeah, marinate it with like Bragg's amino acids. Is that what it's called?
Bragg's liquid
aminos. My bad. With some cut up ginger and garlic. And then I usually throw some vodka in there too, or some sort of. I put sake in there,
like,
just
help it to
tenderize
tenderize.
a little bit. So, and then just let that sit overnight, and then I just pan sear it for a little bit, usually in some sort of bacon grease, and our like cast iron skillet. That's the way to do
Really
it.
good. So
It's
that's one of our meals
delicious.
down. I think that sounds awesome.
Yeah,
Maybe do a little sweet potato on the side of that.
yeah. That potato hash I made last week was delicious.
That was good. I only had a little bit of it. You had most of it.
It was good.
It was really good. I made sweet potato stew this week. That was fantastic. That's a
That was
really
very
nice
good.
one. That's
We
a
still-
recipe I got from Megan a long time ago.
We still have some more of that too.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make some kind of stew, I think. That'll be really nice. Some
Okay.
kind of stew, or I really want to make that crockpot curry.
Okay,
That would be delicious.
that's true.
But I don't have any stew cubes for that. So I might have to do it with ground beef instead of beef stew cubes. I don't know how
Right.
that's going to go. It's just going to be a little bit of a different texture.
Yeah, I feel like because you're legit probably not doing dairy
Yeah.
next month.
I'm legit.
I really want to make some broccoli cheese soup,
Uh-huh.
like broccoli cheddar or something.
Remember I made that a couple weeks ago? I made a cheese and tomato soup.
That was good.
That was really good.
Yeah,
So maybe we'll do that for the last hurrah. We'll do that sometime before Wednesday.
yeah. That's your last hurrah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a wonderful time in February.
I might make that for you tonight.
You just got the trick is to get the broccoli soft enough.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you actually put in like the stalk of it too, and
Yeah,
that's
I
hard.
messed it up last time. It
That's
was a
hard.
bit too crunchy.
It's hard to get that not crunchy.
Yeah, you just have to boil it, and I sautéed it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't thinking about that properly. I should have,
Yeah.
or I like stir fried it instead of boiling it or steaming it rather. That's the best way to get it to be soft enough.
Gotcha.
But anyway, we could do that. That sounds good.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Meal planning done, folks.
Perfect. We usually
on
pick
the show.
Yeah, we usually pick 3 to 4 meals that we do for dinners. We have kind of standard breakfast and lunch,
Yeah.
and pick 3 to 4 dinners, and then we kind of just eat the leftovers throughout the week, and it's super simple.
It's good.
That's
It's a
great.
good move. Doesn't have
So
to be
I'll
too
do
complicated.
the grocery shopping. Gus will come with me. It'll be great.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right. Well, and I have one more little tidbit
Yeah, go
this
for
week.
it.
I think I posted on my Instagram, not on our show
Okay.
Instagram, but a book that I pre-ordered many months ago by Jordan Peterson came out, which is called 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos, which I've talked about Jordan Peterson before on this podcast, but clinical psychologist out of the University of Toronto, used to teach at Harvard, very, very I think he's probably one of the greatest minds in our generation, like as far
Yeah,
as
he's pretty awesome.
yeah, pretty legit.
Yeah.
So
Check him out.
I would highly recommend his YouTube channel and look at
I've
his
linked it in one of our show
okay,
notes. I'll
his-
do it in this one too.
his biblical series is fascinating, and I'm going through. I hesitate to recommend books that I have not finished, but I
Right.
have the hardback that I've been reading, and then I also have the Audible book that I'm going through as well, because it's. So he wrote another book. His first book was called Maps of Meaning, which
Right.
is a textbook, and it is super dense. It's not easy to get through, and it's very like you can't just passively absorb it. It's not like a light read. And he's got a lecture series that goes along with that, which that's easier. If you actually just watch the lecture series and kind of follow, that's a lot easier because he's explaining the diagrams and different things. But the his new one is very much for it's more easily absorbable to more people.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's not
great.
it's not so dense with like kind of the lexicon of a clinical psychologist. So it's a little more palatable and easily absorbable. And it's super good. So highly recommend that. I'll probably be giving a more robust review of that
Yeah, sounds good.
in the future. But yeah, super, super good.
Very cool.
I think so I'm through the first 2 rules. The first one I think is I think he talks a lot about lobsters, and it's you stand up straight with your shoulders back. And then I think the second rule that I'm into right now is take care of yourself as if you were someone that you were responsible for taking care of. So basically, like if you were taking care of somebody else, you should take care of yourself in the same fashion. So
Yeah.
but it's very well explained, and
Yeah, it's
reasons
kind of
why,
that
and-
concept that we've heard a bunch of times of like put your mask on first before helping
Yeah.
others. Like
Yeah.
you do have to take care of yourself.
So
You have to. to be effective at taking care of others.
And particularly if you want to be a high performer and
Yeah.
any of that, it does take, I think that's where it can get tricky because you get so absorbed in doing other things
Yeah.
and your business and whatever that you start neglecting yourself, but that's not sustainable long term.
Right.
So you really got to like make sure you're doing
Stress matters.
Stress matters. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll say overall, this month we've had our ups and downs as far as particularly like in the beginning.
Yes.
And I know I was joking when we were at these bars last night, but I really it's been really good
Yeah.
to know that we've got other options.
Yeah.
And then yesterday was sleeping that much was
Yeah,
so
sleep
nice.
matters too.
Ooh. Yeah,
really does.
so good. I enjoyed that because you left and no dogs were here. You
I
weren't
know,
here,
yeah. Gus and I went
just
off and hung out with Megan for a while.
passed out. It was good.
Yeah, well, you left early. You just got to keep sleeping.
It was awesome.
Great.
So
Yeah, because you can sleep in more than I can. I like same time every day I wake up. And I usually go to bed at the same time too. It's like Jeremy calls it turning into a pumpkin where I just like turn off. Like,
you're
done.
very slightly useless north of 10:30.
Yeah,
So
pretty much. It's
but then
just
what's funny too is like
ew,
I'm not
power down.
I'm not a morning person, and then once you actually wake up,
Yeah, like 2 minutes.
it's like you wake up and then you'll come out and it's just like
Before I even had
just
coffee.
like asking me a million questions as I'm like leaving for work. I'm like, I don't know what you're
And you're like
talking
holding
about.
your coffee like, is this mug right side up?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
Well, my mom, like none of my family are morning people, and
I wouldn't even call myself a morning person. I would
you
just,
are once you get going. As soon as the transition you have from waking up to like talking a
is
mile a
true.
minute is like,
Yeah.
you're like, here are all of my thoughts right now. I'm just like, dude. Like my mom's like, yeah, we don't do a lot of talk. It's more like grunts and nods in the morning with us.
Yeah,
Like
that's funny.
for the Vassar family, just everybody wait until either you've had your tea or your coffee. You like slowly
Yeah.
work into it.
Yeah. So, but all that to say, I get up at the same time, even if it's a weekend, even if I have the luxury of sleeping in virtually all the time, I just get up at our normal time.
Yeah.
But you like to sleep in. So it's hard because when one of us wakes up and gets ready for the day and, things are going on and I go and I make coffee, like you can be as quiet as you want, but it's still going to be making noise.
Yeah. So, and from logistics, from people that haven't been to our lovely
Mm-hmm.
abode, our master suite is right off the kitchen. So
Yes.
there's not a big,
Not a buffer zone.
So when-
It's like
when-
I literally take the coffee grinder into the other room to grind our coffee beans in the morning so I don't wake you up.
yeah. If you're getting up way before
Yeah.
me or something. Yeah. But so in the new jam, when we get our farmhouse or whatever respective dwelling, there will be a significant amount of separation from the master suite
Yeah,
in the
you want to
kitchen.
be able to like let people sleep in who want to sleep in.
Well, it'd be nice too to not have to bang around or like if I have to
Yeah.
getting snacks and stuff when you're asleep. So
Yep.
yeah. But anyway, it's all good. We're not suffering. It's okay. Anything else, sweetie?
No, I think that's pretty good. I'm really happy we did our meal planning. That was like so easy.
Yeah, nice and easy. It's fine. It
That was
doesn't have to
awesome.
be complicated.
Yeah, well-
So
Be good.
cool. Anything else? Good?
You just
All
asked
set?
me that.
I
I'm
did?
good.
Yeah, it's fine.
Do you have anything else, Jeremy?
I don't think so. I think I'm all set. I'm ready to get cracking with the rest of today and do what we got to do.
Yeah.
And we've got yoga in a little bit, and
Yep.
we're not pressed for time at all.
I know, it's
Got
great.
Plenty of time.
I don't think I'm going to go with you to yoga today.
No?
No, I don't think so. I think I'm just going to do Monday and Wednesday.
Okay.
I'm going to push the line. Do Monday,
Ooh,
Wednesday.
rolling the
Tuesday,
dice.
I'm like booked solid. I have no wiggle room at all. But Monday, I have some time in the morning I can go because I don't start with clients till 1.
Gotcha.
And then Wednesday, I can go in the evening.
Gotcha.
So that'll
Well,
have to be my plan.
Yeah. All right.
I have found for me during this challenge that when I clump together and I do 2-3 days in a row, I don't do well on the 4th day. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is too sore or too whatever.
Right.
So for me, part of this challenge was all about like building sustainability. I was going to say stability, but sustainability for my yoga practice. And I've landed on every other day is much better for me.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to try that. We'll see
Yeah,
how
well,
it
I
goes.
would prefer that too. I think I'm going to end up doing Wednesday, Sunday
Okay.
with the yoga, and then like Monday, Saturday with strength and conditioning, then Tuesday, Thursday, Friday for jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
That's my plan.
Sounds good so far. We'll catch you next week, see how it's going.
We'll see. All right. Bye, guys.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We had a great time on our little show today. We hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned a little bit of something. This episode of the podcast, as well as all of our others, can be found on iTunes, on Stitcher, on Google Play, and on YouTube. You can find our show notes on our website, which is thepainterandthepixie.com, and you can follow us for show updates and other fun things on our Instagram at The Painter and The Pixie.
So that is it for us, folks. Thank you once again for joining us, and have a lovely week. And yeah, stay out of trouble, all that good stuff, and we will see you in February.
Bye.
Amazing.